Welcome my beautiful friends. If you are lying in the soft, quiet sanctuary of your bed tonight, while your mind continues to replay the day's discussions, take a slow, deep breath. Let your shoulders fall away from your ears. Unclench your jaw, loosen the tightness in your forehead, and allow the cool stillness of the late hour to wrap around you like a warm blanket. Tonight, we aren't here to solve life's endless puzzles, to plan tomorrow's victories, or to defend our choices. We are simply here to sit together in a warm, healing truth. Wise elders used to say that we spend our entire lives washing our hands, sweeping our floors, and keeping our houses clean, yet we thoughtlessly fill our hearts with the heavy dirt of useless arguments, and then we sit in the dark and wonder why we can never find true inner peace. Deep within a bustling old market in a small, coastal town, where narrow cobblestone alleys wound past wooden balconies, and the air smelled of rain, cardamom tea, and wild jasmine, there stood an ancient, dimly lit clockmaker's workshop. Outside, a cool evening rain was falling softly, tapping a steady, rhythmic melody against the glass window panes. Inside, the world was filled with the gentle, comforting ticking of 100 wooden pendulum clocks hanging from the walls. Sitting on a low wooden stool in the corner of this shop was a young man named Farhan. Farhan was 25 years old, wearing a simple button-down shirt and a canvas coat that was still damp from the rain. He was a good man, but his face carried a heavy, lingering shadow of exhaustion. His eyes were clouded by a frustration that had been building inside him for months. Farhan was the kind of person who cared deeply about fairness and truth. Whenever someone misunderstood him, whenever someone made an unfair assumption, or whenever a colleague at work made an incorrect claim, Farhan felt an overwhelming, burning urge to correct them. He spent his days over-explaining himself, defending his dignity, and engaging in long, draining debates just to prove that he was right. He believed that if he let even a small misunderstanding pass, it meant he was weak, or that he was accepting a lie. But this constant battle to protect his reputation had left his spirit completely drained, his sleep broken, and his heart perpetually anxious. Across from Farhan sat Uncle Jalal, an elderly clock repairman in his late 70s. Uncle Jalal was a quiet, unassuming man with soft, silvery hair, a weathered face etched with deep lines of kindness, and a simple linen shirt smudged with fine mechanical oil. He wore tiny brass magnifying spectacles perched on the tip of his nose as he meticulously worked on the delicate gears of an antique pocket watch. The shop was filled with the steady, golden glow of a brass oil lamp, casting warm shadows across shelves piled high with wooden gears, brass pendulums, and glass domes. The air inside felt timeless, untouched by the frantic rush of the town outside. As the rain outside began to fall harder, washing over the cobblestones, the quiet sanctuary of the shop was suddenly broken. The front door burst open with a harsh rattle, letting in a gust of cold, damp wind. A prominent, well-dressed customer marched into the workshop, his face red with anger and his coat soaking wet. In his hands, he carried a large, ornate mantel clock that Uncle Jalal had repaired just 2 days prior. Without a word of greeting, the man slammed the clock down onto Jalal's workbench, making the delicate brass tools jump. In a loud, sharp voice that shattered the quiet rhythm of the ticking clocks, the customer began to shout. He accused Uncle Jalal of being a fraud, claiming the repair was cheap and incompetent because the clock was running 20 minutes fast every night. He went on a long, arrogant rant, loudly explaining his own absurd theories about clock mechanics, making completely incorrect claims about how pendulums were balanced, and insulting Jalal's decades of craft. He demanded his money back immediately and threatened to tell the entire town that Jalal was a dishonest craftsman. Farhan sat on his stool, his blood instantly boiling. His fists clenched tightly in his coat pockets, and his chest tightened with indignation. Farhan knew Uncle Jalal. He knew that Jalal was a master clockmaker who had spent 50 years perfecting his craft. Farhan knew the exact physics of pendulums and could easily see that the customer was completely wrong, having likely placed the clock on an uneven table in his own home. Farhan's internal voice screamed at him to jump up, confront the rude man, explain the science, defend Jalal's honor, and crush the customer's arrogant ignorance with indisputable facts. He braced himself, waiting for Uncle Jalal to stand up and set the record straight. But Uncle Jalal did not raise his voice. He did not jump to his own defense. He did not offer a single word of logic, science, or correction. Instead, the old clockmaker slowly removed his magnifying spectacles and set them down gently on a soft velvet cloth. He looked up at the angry customer with eyes full of profound, unbothered warmth. A gentle, quiet smile spread across his weathered face. He listened patiently to every insult, nodding slowly as if receiving a guest. When the customer finally ran out of breath, Uncle Jalal spoke in a voice as calm and soothing as the rain outside. "You are absolutely right, my friend," Jalal said softly, bowing his head in gentle humility. "I must have misjudged the balance. Please forgive me for causing you such frustration and taking up your valuable time. Let me return your money to you right now." Uncle Jalal reached beneath the counter, pulled out the exact coins the man had paid, and placed them gently into the customer's hand. Then, with smooth, graceful movements, Jalal walked over to a small brass stove in the corner, poured a fresh cup of hot, steaming chamomile tea into a ceramic mug, and offered it to the man. "Drink this to warm yourself from the rain before you step back outside," Jalal added with genuine care. The customer stood frozen in absolute shock. He had arrived expecting a bitter fight, ready to unleash his anger and defend his pride. But faced with Jalal's complete lack of resistance, his quiet humility, and a hot cup of tea, the customer's anger had nowhere to land. It completely collapsed, like a wave crashing against soft sand instead of a hard stone wall. The man looked at the money in his hand, took a slow sip of the tea, and his sharp shoulders noticeably dropped. He cleared his throat nervously, suddenly looking quite small and embarrassed. He mumbled a quiet thank you, picked up his clock, and stepped out into the rainy night, closing the doors softly behind him. The workshop fell back into its tranquil, rhythmic silence. The steady tick-tock of 100 clocks resumed its comforting song. Farhan stood up from his stool, completely bewildered. He walked over to the workbench, his voice trembling with confusion and frustration. "Uncle Jalal," Farhan pleaded, "why did you do that? You are a master. You spent 50 years learning this craft. That man was completely wrong, his physics were absurd, and he was deeply disrespectful to you. You had the truth on your side. Why didn't you correct him? Why did you let him win?" Uncle Jalal picked up his tiny screwdriver and returned to his delicate work on the pocket watch. He worked in silence for a long moment, letting the question hang in the warm air. Finally, he looked up at Farhan with a smile so full of compassion and ancient wisdom that it made Farhan's heart ache. "My dear boy," Uncle Jalal said in a soft, resonant whisper, "that man came into my shop tonight carrying a heavy torch of anger. He was looking for a battle. He wanted to win an argument so he could feel powerful and protect his own fragile ego. I, on the other hand, sat here tonight to enjoy the quiet music of my clocks, to drink my tea, and to live in peace. If I had argued with him, I might have proven my knowledge. I might have shown him that I was right and he was wrong. But to win that small victory, what would I have sacrificed?" Jalal leaned forward, resting his weathered hands on the workbench. "I would have filled my quiet shop with screaming. My heart rate would have spiked, my blood pressure would have risen, and my entire evening would have been ruined by bitterness and stress. I would have spent the rest of the night replaying his insults in my head, pacing back and forth, defending myself to an empty room. Tell me, Farhan, is proving a point to a passing stranger worth destroying the sanctuary of my own mind?" He wanted a victory of words, I wanted to keep my peace of mind. He took his victory and walked out into the rain, and I kept my tranquility and stayed warm inside. Peace, my child, is pure gold. Why would I trade gold just to win a piece of worthless copper? The old clockmaker's words hit Farhan's chest like a wave of cool, cleansing water. A sudden, breathtaking clarity washed over his mind. He looked around the quiet workshop, listening to the soft, steady ticking of the pendulums, and for the first time in his life, he saw his own suffering clearly. He realized that he had been turning his entire life into a battlefield. He had been spending his precious energy, his sleep, and his peace, constantly defending his dignity to people who didn't even matter, fighting useless wars for victories that brought no real joy. He realized that true strength wasn't about having the last word, it was about having the quiet wisdom to realize that not every invitation to a fight requires an attendance. His value was not determined by whether someone else understood him. His peace was his own to protect. Farhan took a long, slow, deep breath, the first light, unburdened breath he had taken in years. He felt the heavy armor he had been wearing fall away, piece by piece. He looked at Uncle Jalal, bowed his head with deep, silent gratitude, and sat back down on his stool, letting the tranquil ticking of the clocks wash over his heart. He didn't need to prove anything anymore. He was finally at rest. My beautiful friends, as you lie in the quiet safety of your room tonight, let us sit together in the peaceful sanctuary of this truth. I invite you to take a gentle, honest look into the quiet corners of your own heart tonight. How many heavy, unsaid arguments are you still carrying from your day? Whose misunderstanding are you desperately trying to correct in your head right now, replaying old conversations, hoping that if they just understood your side, you could finally be at peace? It is a deeply human thing to want to be understood, to want fairness, and to want to defend your name. But placing your inner peace in the hands of someone else's opinion is like leaving your home wide open to the storm. You do not owe everyone an explanation. You do not need to attend every argument you are invited to. And you certainly do not need to win every debate to be worthy, valid, and strong. Tonight, let this be the place where you put down the heavy burden of being right. Acknowledge the desire to defend yourself, acknowledge the sting of being misunderstood, but then, let out a long, slow sigh of complete release. Tell your tired mind. Their understanding is not required for my peace. My worth is settled, and I choose to keep my quiet mind tonight. Let the opinions, the misunderstandings, and the noise of the world float harmlessly past you, like autumn leaves floating down a quiet, dark river. You are allowed to let people think whatever they want while you walk away with your heart intact. Protect your quiet evening. Guard your precious peace like pure gold. Tonight, give yourself full permission to be completely still. Lay your head down gently upon your pillow. Let your arms, your hands, and your legs feel heavy, warm, and deeply relaxed. Allow the calm, rhythmic rise and fall of your breathing to guide your mind into a weightless, profound sleep. Take beautiful care of your soul, protect your precious inner peace, and until we walk this quiet path together again, peace be upon you.